We're going to talk about a very specific kind of burnout. It's not the kind that stops you in your tracks, but the kind that makes every single thing you do just cost more. We're going to get into the biology of why that happens because it's a story that almost nobody is telling. You know, at some point, maybe in your mid-40s, this question starts to creep in. You're still getting it all done, right? The meetings, the big decisions, running the show, but something just feels off. And that right there, that's the silent question so many high performers are asking themselves. And here's the deal. The answer isn't that you need more motivation. It's not about finding a new why or just trying harder. The answer is concrete, it's scientific, it's biological. There is a real physical mechanism at play inside your body. So let's talk about what that feeling is actually like, because it can be so hard to put your finger on. It really is like the engine just feels different. The internal operating system that's been running you for decades, it's just changed. You notice it, even if nobody else does. Let's get really specific. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's that little half-second delay when you're searching for a word that used to be right there. It's that feeling that your mental edge is just gone by 2 p.m. And sleep? It's not refreshing anymore. It just feels like you're hitting pause on being exhausted. These aren't character flaws. They're biological data points. So here's the crucial part. For 15, maybe 25 years, you've been pushing your body at a level it was never designed to sustain forever. And look, all those high-stakes decisions, that constant pressure, that's not just a metaphor for stress. It creates a real, measurable state in your body, chronic cortisol elevation. And that leads us to the next part of the journey, which honestly is often the most frustrating. You know something is wrong, so you start trying to fix it. You start doing all the things you're supposed to be doing. Come on, you know this list. I bet you've tried at least a few of these, maybe all of them. Cold plunges, fasting, supplements, tracking every second of your sleep. And let's be super clear, these things aren't bad. They're just not enough for this particular problem, because they're all treating symptoms, not the real underlying cause. If any of that sounds familiar, I really want you to let this sink in. When those protocols didn't work, it wasn't because you weren't disciplined enough. It's because you were aiming at the wrong target. You were simply given the wrong map. Okay, this is where we get to the core of it. This is the X on that map. We're about to look at a hidden trade-off your body has been making for years, probably without you even realizing it. Okay, so here's how it works. And it's actually pretty straightforward when you see it laid out like this. Think of a hormone called pregnenolone. It's like the raw clay your body uses to make two critical things, your stress hormone, cortisol, and your sex hormone, testosterone. Now, when you're under constant sustained stress, your body flips into survival mode. It needs cortisol, and a lot of it, to stay sharp and functional. So what does it do? It diverts all that raw clay to the cortisol factory, effectively stealing it from the testosterone production line. And this isn't some fringe theory, by the way. It's a known, documented biochemical process. It's called the Pregnenolone Steal. It's your body making a perfectly logical choice for short-term survival that just happens to have really serious long-term consequences for your energy, your mind, and just how you feel every day. So what does this actually do to you? Well, it sets off this cascade, this chain reaction of problems that perfectly explains all those feelings we talked about at the beginning. Now, this is so important. You have to get this part. When your doctor runs a blood test, they're checking your total testosterone. And for years, that number can look totally normal. But the number that actually dictates your energy and mental clarity is your free testosterone. That's the tiny fraction your body can actually use. Thanks to the Pregnenolone Steal, this is the number that is silently, steadily dropping off a cliff. And it's not just about testosterone. The whole cortisol system gets flipped upside down. See, a healthy rhythm gives you a big surge of cortisol in the morning to get you up and going, and then it slowly fades all day. A dysregulated rhythm does the exact opposite. You feel flat and groggy in the morning, and then you get a huge spike of cortisol in the middle of the night. You know that 3 a.m. wake up where your mind is instantly racing? That's not anxiety. That's a hormonal event. So right about now, you're probably thinking, okay, wait a minute. If this is a real documented biological pattern, why in the world did my doctor miss it? Why am I being told that everything is normal? It's because standard blood work is the wrong tool for the job. It's designed to look for big, obvious problems. It measures total testosterone, not the usable free testosterone. It usually doesn't even check for something called SHBG, which is a protein that locks up your testosterone. And it takes one single snapshot in time, completely missing the messed up cortisol pattern that's happening over 24 hours. They're trying to measure the tide with a teaspoon. And this is the staggering result of that. On average, this whole process runs silently in the background for 7 years before a single standard test will flag that anything is wrong. 7 years. 7 years of you feeling like you're losing a step, trying to figure it out, all while the real cause goes completely undetected. All right, let's bring all this home. It's time to reframe this whole thing. We have to stop chasing individual symptoms and start looking at the entire system. This right here. This might be the single most important reframe in all of this. For years, you probably thought your high performance was the reward. It wasn't. The performance was the biological cost. Every single year of high output was a withdrawal from a biological bank account nobody ever told you existed. So all those failed attempts with the protocols, that was never a discipline problem, it was a targeting problem, plain and simple. You were aiming at the smoke, not the fire. That 3 a.m. wake-up call, where your brain is already trying to solve tomorrow's issues, we can put a name to it now. It's not some vague anxiety. It's a specific, measurable cortisol spike happening at the wrong time. And that brain fog, that mental slowness, that searching for words, that is not permanent cognitive decline. It's a hormonal output. It's the direct result of having low, usable testosterone. It is a reversible problem with the system, not a permanent flaw in the hardware. And what all this really means is that you're not in a state of decline. You're in a state of transition. It's a transition from trying to run a complex system without a dashboard to finally having the map in your hands. So you get it now. You have the name for what you've been feeling. You understand the hidden mechanism behind it. So the question is no longer, what's wrong with me? The question now is, you have the map to your own biology. What's the first move you're going to make?